we're numbing out, be it social media or substances, overstimulated and inundated with a lot of amazing things and also a lot of harsh stuff.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot going on. There's a lot to cry about.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be happy about.
Nothing you do matters unless what you do matters. I'm Amadon DellErba, and this is Get Real or Die Trying.
How we doing, tribe? We are here at Get Real or Die Trying, live from the Sea of Glass Center for the Arts in Tucson, Arizona, episode 44. We're sitting down with DJ Drez. How you doing, brother?
I'm good.
Thanks for coming on my show. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to be here.
He's touring in town today. He's doing a show tonight. So first of all, I'm curious, tell me about your name, Drez, DJ Drez. What's the story behind that?
Oh man, Drez, it's a combo story. It comes from Dr. Easy. D-R-E-Z is Dr. Easy. And I was a graffiti artist. I still paint sometimes. But it's because I was a kid with locks. And a lot of times we would spell things the way they sounded instead of the way they were spelled. And that's how Drez came about.
Got it.
Because I was a 14, 15-year-old kid with locks. And
Got it.
that's the short version.
Now, does anyone ever call you by your birth name, or you're just DJ Drez?
People, just Drez.
Just
Or
Drez.
a lot of people call me Easy.
Yeah, easy? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, you've been producing music for over 25, 30 years now, maybe more.
No, I'd say I've been DJing over 30 years.
Okay.
I've been producing since around, a long time. Almost 30 years, probably 28 years maybe.
Yeah, I love your music. I've been listening for about 10 years. So came upon a playlist years ago and I was like, oh, I like that. And then I looked it up and then kind of started diving in more, and you're on the rotation now.
I am grateful.
So I really find your music, it has I call it higher consciousness, brings you to a different state. And I really appreciate that. And kind of, you have also a very diverse portfolio of sounds, and you work with a lot of different artists. And what is your goal? Like if someone hears your music, what do you want them to feel?
I want them to feel. I think a lot of us are functioning in life where we're numbing out, be it social media or substances, and or just I think we're so overstimulated and inundated with a lot of amazing things and also a lot of harsh stuff.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot going on. There's a lot to cry about.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be happy about. And I think that people aren't crying enough. I think that people aren't smiling and authentically laughing enough without substances and dancing and doing all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying that I have any, like if the substances or whatever are not damaging you in your relationships, then hey, do your thing if you know balance and know how to deal. But I think too many of us are just trying to check out.
Yeah.
Because it's weird, life is weird. So I love all kinds of music, and I want to make all kinds of music, and I want people to have all the feelings that they have that comes from living in this awkward experience of being in a body and living in cities and all the different things that we feel.
Yeah.
So I guess, I don't like telling people what to feel.
Yeah.
I like hearing what they felt when
Yeah.
they were listening to this song. Like, we made our baby to this song,
Yeah.
or this hit me when my father was dying, or whatever it be. Like, I take it all in, and that's really special. And that's the way I create it. I'm inspired from everything from abstract, unseen things that can't be measured to the most realist things, the simple delights or angers,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I feel that intention in your music, and again, you have quite a wide range of sound, but a lot of it to me that I listen to when I'm trying to meditate or be calm, or it's just it's chill, and
Thank you.
It has a good feeling, I like what you said about you just want people to feel, and we live in a world where people really are constantly trying to numb themselves.
Yeah.
And that's because they're unhappy or for whatever reason. And again, there's no judgment. We've all been through things in our lives where we've probably tried to numb ourselves too. But sometimes sitting with yourself with presence, or going to an intentional show with music or dancing and not doing it while intoxicated or having a mind-altering substance, and just really coming into yourself. Music can be such a powerful way to facilitate.
A tool.
It's a tool, yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of people like really have a hard time sitting with themselves.
Yeah.
Even for a 1 minute.
Yeah.
And music can create space to allow yourself to be with yourself.
Yeah.
In deep ways, like being quiet, or by yourself cooking in the kitchen, and then you just start grooving a little bit, or everything in between.
Yeah, there's a lot of power in frequencies and sound waves, and
it's how we
take in.
It's how we were created. We were created because of sound.
Yeah.
And that's actually a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, I was telling you about the Urantia book before we went live, but that talks about the universe being sung into existence.
Here we are.
I think I love that poetry.
I love that.
That's that just hearing that, and the sound waves kind of creating reality and creating physical matter, and it's a beautiful thought.
Something I appreciate so much about yoga is that sound and most religion and culture comes with music.
Yeah.
But there's just something really special about the yoga practice and just oming, simply making a sound. It's said to be the sound of creation, and I don't know if that's the Big Bang, or maybe the ripple of the Big Bang in this om.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think I read in your bio you started out kind of in the hip hop scene, and tell me about your transformation, not out of that, because I know you're probably still in it, but into the yogic kind of culture, because I know your music's very popular with that meditative kind of yoga style, and the kirtan and the om and the chanting and the mantras, and that kind of East Indian Hindu flair that you bring into your music. How did that come about?
It started with the hip hop I come from is I was a little kid breakdancing and all that in the 80s, when it wasn't because I was this deep hip hopper. It was like, that's what I thought was cool. I saw my older brothers doing it, and it was the thing. Like during lunch at school, we'd bring out the cardboard and we'd break dance and practice graffiti letters and do all kinds of stuff like that. That was one thing. But then around 88, 89, let's say 88 through 93 is what is known as the golden era hip hop.
Wu-Tang.
Yeah, all that. And there was a combination of why it was the golden era. It was how it was being made. It was being made by other music. So it was like an encyclopedia of music from around the world.
Started sampling.
Yep. So, but not only that, those days were a very important time of talking about really self-realization, and looking to the East for knowledge, looking to ancestors and ancient ways that were looking to the future. So it was just an acknowledgement of self, and there was people talking about clean eating and Islam and Rastafari and yoga, meditation, all these things were being talked about. So as a 14, 15-year-old, I was paying attention. And I was like, this is amazing. I want in. And not only that, but it was fun. Like, still with the dancing and DJing, graffiti art, all of it. Like, hip hop is a culture that people just think it's music, but it is, what really makes it up is the dance, which is breakdancing, the MC, the DJ, and the graffiti artist. It's 4 elements. Some people add beatboxing as the 5th element. So it started then, and what I mean is the spiritual aspect and wanting to be a DJ, wanting to be a musician. Oh, that's a sample. I heard that old soul song, my mom was playing it. Oh, that comes from this. And oh, wait, that's James Brown. Oh, that's from Africa. Oh, that's Indian music. And so I fell in love with all of it. And I fell deeply in love with Indian music, and I didn't know why. I just knew it felt good.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that this song was a devotional song. I didn't know this was classical. I just knew that I enjoyed it. So then, fast in, like I said, golden era, 88 through 93, let's say. I start DJing around 90. I'm 15 years old. I'm a kid growing my locks. Rastafari opens the door for me to step away from the conditioning of many things. And then 10 years go by, and so much in between then. I was touring with hip hop groups and bands and stuff like that, and reggae bands. And then I'm like, I want more. And what is a mind-body discipline that makes sense for me? And is it martial arts? What is it? Yoga. Mm-hmm. Start talking to my wife more about it. She talks me into going to a yoga class because I'm not sure, because I had heard about yogis, and in my head, they were the Rastas of India. Mm-hmm. They grew locks, they gave up everything and lived in the mountains and stepped away from the system that oppresses people and that tells you what to do and all these things. And so now there's something else, and it goes in line with the other thing that opened the door. And so I go to class and I'm like, okay, that was cool. But I knew there's got to be more. So I go to different classes and try it out. And then I'm like, okay, this is a body-mind discipline that is spiritual and also dives deep into the science of the body. And I was searching, and I started to find what I was searching for. And then I started to learn about the mantras, and then I learned, I didn't realize I was listening to Om Namah Shivaya a couple years earlier from these Indian records. And so it was just all these things that came together. And so I'm still touring with hip hop groups and bands and stuff, and start DJing yoga classes. And next thing I know, the yoga and music world started to get more popular and bigger. And next thing you know, there's a festival that is all about this.
Yeah.
And I was there for the beginning of all these things. And I stayed with it, and I dove in deep and deeper. And I have been really interested in what is it like to walk the walk of what people talk about, and all the songs that I heard people talking about, the spiritual paths of, can I learn how to levitate? I don't know, maybe if I just keep trying, or learning about the deep natural highs that you could get from breath and asana and just being by yourself. So that's the short.
Yeah.
That's the short long version of
I appreciate that.
how it happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I myself been learning more about breath work, and I'm just amazed, what can happen to the body and the breath. And, we were talking about substances before, and like, you don't need it.
Yeah.
Just, like do some, learn how to breathe properly and release the DMT into your brain, oxygenate your blood, and, it can really
it's the long path,
do wonders. Yeah.
But it's something you always have. You always have access to it.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I'll tell you, man, like, because I've never been a drinker or a smoker. There was a long time where I really shunned it because I saw just a very large misuse.
Yeah.
And even stronger than that, I saw too many people hurt themselves.
Yeah.
Like having loved ones die. Too many.
Yeah.
And friends. And so it was like, it became a thing that I just really was like, nah, that's not for me. But over the years, I have a better understanding of just watching friends and people who know how to function well with it, that we live in a very intense way. Just living in a city. Like, from my understanding, you're not supposed to live in a city. That's where you go and do biz.
Yeah.
That's where commerce happens, and then you step
leave.
back.
Yeah.
So I understand. Like, there's a lot of people who come into the conscious world by way of a substance.
Yeah.
And I used to just be like, that's cheating and whatever. And I just, with, maturity and growth, I look at it different. Like, I understand, like, the value of that it can be a tool.
Yeah. I often feel like it's a shortcut.
It is.
Sometimes maybe might be necessary for some people to unlock and break free, but it's not the only way. And
not the only way.
That's where people make the mistake of thinking they have to have it, or it's the only way.
Yeah.
I think it shows your consciousness kind of, because you already had tapped into these things, and you had saw the negative effects around you. And I'll venture to say that, you realized that you didn't need that, and some people aren't fortunate enough to have that experience.
Yeah, I lucked out, man.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest of
and
5
that's really
kids.
cool because it's substance abuse is so huge in music culture.
It is. It is.
It's just massive. How many people have we lost to overdoses and musicians, and the scenes, and so it's really cool that you were able to maintain that and stay true to what you felt was right. I applaud you for that, because I've been a musician my whole life. I've talked to hundreds of musicians and been in that world, and there's very few.
It's tough
Very
to
few.
not.
Yeah.
It's tough to not join in.
Yeah.
And plus, like, it could definitely be a spiritual tool, a tool for understanding that there's more than what we see and things we could touch. It's also a tool for just connecting with people. And so I know that there has been times where there's been a lack of connection because I don't hang out and smoke or drink after, or like in the past.
Yeah.
And it just is what it is.
Yeah.
It's part of my journey, and
Well, I can definitely relate to that, because I lived a similar lifestyle, and it's we've had music venues for 20 years in Arizona and Sedona, and now here, and all different types of musicians coming through from all over the world, and lighting up is something everyone does before the show or after the show, especially the Rastas.
Sure.
And, I don't partake, so it's it's interesting, because one of my philosophies with my spirituality is I should be able to break bread with anybody.
Absolutely.
Metaphorically.
Always.
And, but also at the same time, that doesn't mean compromise what I feel and believe. So I'm not going to light up if I don't light up, but I can still hang out, or I can still connect.
I've shocked so many people. I've offended a lot of people. A lot of people get offended when you don't light up with them.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Or accept the drink. Like, no, thank you, but no thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I've had people literally get angry at me.
Yeah.
It's a trip.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
So with your music, what are some of your, I mean, that might be hard for you to say, or maybe but like, what are some of your favorite collaborations you've done? Because I know you've collaborated with so many different artists. And
I'll tell you, like, collaborating with my wife is a trip. It's amazing.
That's really cool to have
It's
that
really cool.
creative connection.
Yeah, and her pop, who is a dear friend of mine, he passed away just in the last 2 years, and he's a jazz pianist. Collaborating with him was really special.
Cool.
I come from a long line of dope MCs,
Yeah.
just really good MCs. It's been amazing working with all of them. AC Alone, Abstract Rude, Micah 9, Freestyle Fellowship. I come from a crew called Project Blowed, out of Los Angeles, South Central. And all of them are amazing. Years of touring with them. Medusa and a female MC. Rocky Daouni, a friend from Ghana who I toured also years with in like Afrobeat roots reggae band. And then other people that just over the years, just people that were around, like I did stuff with Black Eyed Peas. We did a song with Eminem, and you know, like just over the years, so many different people.
Yeah.
And it's a true pleasure. Over the last like year, I've had the pleasure of remixing like the Ska Delights and Sly and Robbie. I'm going to be doing like Lee Scratch Perry and
Cool.
a couple just like reggae OGs, you know, some other people who aren't with us anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, like all of that, it's just an honor and a pleasure. I love doing all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. In your bio, I love words and how combinations of words, and there was something that stood out to me. It said you're wildly calm. I was like, oh, that's cool. You don't see, there it is. I don't even notice it on your shirt. That's really cool.
I literally just made this shirt.
I love it,
I designed it like a week ago.
you don't see those two words paired together
Yeah.
pretty much ever. And I love that. I was like, that's awesome. And that's
you.
cool.
Thank you.
So tell me about
I literally
that.
just made,
That's-
you know what it is?
just
Is
came-
I'm in a world of wild shit.
Yeah.
I mean, just being in the world, but
Yeah.
I'm saying like being an artist and a musician and what people expect me to be who don't know who I am, and you know, some people expect me to be a wild man because I'm a DJ and I have locks and all these things, and
Yeah.
it's I really appreciate the balance and learning, being a student of balance. I've had times where I got wild, and I just mean there's times where I do let go, whatever it is, on the dance floor, or just cracking up to the point of crying. And
Yeah.
I don't mean being destructive,
Yeah.
but a version of wild where people might be like, people might be like, what's wrong with this dude? Like, you know what I mean? Because I get silly and I talk some shit sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, like the more I warm up, the sillier I might get. I really appreciate balance.
Yeah.
And I also appreciate nature.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I really like that. Like,
to be wildly calm, like you see the most majestic creatures, you see them wild. You might see a lion or tiger on the chase or whatever and be violently ripping apart something, but there's also this majestic quiet space that you see them in.
totally.
And I think it's just acknowledging all of that, the balance. And there is a wild side, but it's contained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. I got the wild part down. I'm working on the calm part.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yes.
it stood out to me. That's really cool on your shirt too.
Cool.
So,
Thank you.
and with your music, because we got to wrap it up here.
Yeah.
With do you have a favorite song, or I know that's always a hard question, or one that you just like you feel so good about, or like
I can't name a song.
they're all
It's
yeah.
too-
I know that's a hard one. It's kind of asking if you have a favorite kid. You can't really.
Because I could go everything from like classic synth, ambient, Brian Eno stuff to, I love Sade. I love Gil Scott-Heron. I love just original classic hip hop groups like X-Clan and Jungle Brothers and
Yeah.
and roots reggae. just conscious roots reggae.
Yeah.
And then I love the kind of silly, light, like sexual Yellow Man and other stuff. Like, as much as I love like the deep, serious stuff, I love Digital Underground, which was like, if like they have an album called Freaks of the Industry, which is about being a freak of the industry and funk. And so I can't name a song. I love Miles Davis.
Yeah.
The album Kind of Blue, like I went out and bought
so
a
good.
trumpet because of this.
Yeah.
You know? I really appreciate the balances of life. And the pleasure and pain is like, we have no choice to embrace it. So I work with that as much as possible.
Very cool. And is there any particular yogic philosophy that you really kind of hits home for you, or that you've learned along the way that comes from that culture that, you know, you just feel like rings true to your heart, mind, soul?
I would say the middle path, which is balance. And I want to, and I'm a student of that, and I want to know, I want to remain in a place where I don't go too high so I explode, and I don't go too low so I don't crumble and dissolve in suffering.
Yeah.
So I would say really the middle path is what I'm want to go for.
Last question is a deep one.
Yeah.
Get real for your audience. Will get to know you more. But what's the hardest thing you've ever had to do?
Physically, the Grand Canyon was one of the hardest things I've done. Mentally, being a husband and father, I would say.
I can relate to that.
Because in all the deliciousness, there's a constant learning about myself, a constant mirror being held up. Because we don't fuck around. We're very real with each other. There's no games that are played. We don't shut the door, we don't shut the door when we use the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, we're just very real. We're respectful of each other. We're also silly, and we're very serious. We fight, we yell.
Yeah.
Like, and to be in a relationship for so long. We've been together 28 years or something like that.
Yeah.
20-year-old son, 7-year-old daughter. Like, that is really, really difficult.
Yeah.
And the deep desire to stay in the relationship.
Yeah.
And to want. There's like, and there's just all kinds of stuff that goes with that.
I really appreciate that answer,
That's the
man.
umbrella answer. That
Yeah. Well, commitment is so rare these days, you know. It's such a rare thing, and
it is.
I really
And discipline.
And you know, so I can relate to that too. I mean, I haven't been married 28 years, but 10 years coming up in a couple weeks, you know. And as a young man, I'm proud of that, you know, and having a family, and like you said, being a father and a husband, it's the most rewarding thing I've ever done, but also the hardest thing I've ever done.
Straight up.
Some days you go to bed and you're like, am I fucking this all up?
Yep.
Am I doing this right? Like, what the heck? And some days you go to bed feeling like a champ. You know? But that's the beauty of it. Like you said, it's the finding that balance, and those are the real things. That's the legacy and the eternal values of what we pass down to our children, and how we steward the responsibility of being fathers and husbands and leaders. And it's a special thing. You know, I've grown more in the years of being a father than I did all the years prior to that, my entire life. I probably grew more in the first 2 years of being a father.
Straight up.
Than 25, 30 years of my life. You know?
Within the first year, this saying, like I regularly say it now because it's a very real thing for me. You learn that the days are long and the years are short.
Yeah.
Because you see them grow. You're watching them
so
grow.
Fast.
And it just brings a new understanding to the way we're made up.
Appreciate it, man. And all this realness and this consciousness, and you know, it's all infused into your music, you know. And so I appreciate it, man. Looking forward to your show tonight. And
it's a pleasure.
Nice meeting you, brother.
Subscribe, like, share, follow. You know the routine. Thanks for listening.